Zara and the Kingdom of the Seven Seas. Deep beneath the ocean waves lived a young lionfish named Zara. Unlike the other fish in her reef, Zara was fascinated by maps. She collected old shells, driftwood carvings, and stories from travelers who passed through the reef. While the other fish spent their days playing among the corals, Zara spent hours studying the ocean. She dreamed of discovering places nobody had ever seen before. One evening, an old sailor crab arrived at the reef. The crab carried a worn piece of coral stone covered with strange symbols. The villagers gathered around him. "What is it?" they asked. The old crab smiled. "It is part of an ancient map." The fish gasped. "A map to what?" The crab pointed toward the horizon. "To the Kingdom of the Seven Seas." According to legend, the kingdom was hidden beyond 7 different oceans. Few believed it existed. Many explorers had searched for it. None had returned with proof. But Zara's heart raced. She wanted to find it. That night, she could hardly sleep. The next morning, she packed supplies and said goodbye to her family. Her mother hugged her tightly. "Be careful. I will. And remember, the ocean is full of wonders, but also full of creatures who may need your help." Zara nodded. Then she began her adventure. The first sea she entered was called the Coral Sea. Towering coral towers stretched toward the surface. Fish of every color filled the water. There she met a cheerful pufferfish named Bubbles. Bubbles knew secret paths through the coral maze. When Zara became lost, Bubbles guided her safely out. The two quickly became friends. After several days, they reached the edge of the Coral Sea. Their paths separated. "Good luck, explorer," Bubbles shouted. Zara waved goodbye. The second sea was the Sea of Giants. Massive creatures lived there. Huge manta rays glided through the water. Enormous whales sang songs that echoed for miles. At first, Zara felt tiny and afraid. Then she met a young whale named Orion. Orion showed her that even the largest creatures could be kind. He helped her cross dangerous currents that would have swept her away. Before they parted, he said, "Never judge anyone by their size." Zara continued onward. The third sea was unlike anything she had ever seen. At night, the water glowed. Millions of tiny blue lights sparkled beneath the waves. It looked as if the stars themselves had fallen into the ocean. Here she met a lanternfish named Nova. Nova taught Zara how to navigate using the glow of the sea. "Sometimes," Nova said, "the light you need is already around you." The fourth sea was covered in giant forests of kelp. The plants stretched so high they seemed to touch the sky. Inside the forest, Zara met a clever octopus inventor named Ollie. Ollie loved building gadgets. When Zara needed help crossing a dangerous underwater canyon, Ollie built a floating bridge from driftwood and giant shells. Together, they safely crossed. The fifth sea was the Storm Sea. Powerful currents twisted through the water. Waves crashed endlessly above. Many travelers turned back here. One evening, Zara became trapped in a whirlpool current. The water spun faster and faster. She fought with all her strength. Just when she thought she couldn't escape, a sea turtle named Marina appeared. Marina guided her through a hidden tunnel beneath the storm. "You were very brave," Marina said. "But even brave explorers sometimes need help." Zara smiled. She knew Marina was right. The sixth sea was the Crystal Sea. Giant crystal formations rose from the ocean floor. Sunlight reflected through them, creating beautiful rainbows beneath the water. Fish traveled from all over the world just to see them. But Zara didn't stop. The kingdom of the seven seas was still ahead. Finally, she reached the seventh sea, the Sea of Mist. Strange silver fog drifted through the water. Visibility was poor. Everything looked mysterious. For days, Zara searched. Nothing. Then one morning, she noticed a glowing archway hidden behind the mist. Her heart pounded. She swam closer. Beyond the archway stood something incredible. A magnificent underwater kingdom. Golden coral towers stretched toward the surface. Crystal bridges connected enormous buildings. Colorful fish from every corner of the ocean filled the streets. It was more beautiful than anything Zara had ever imagined. The kingdom of the seven seas. It was real. Travelers from all over the world gathered there. They shared stories, traded knowledge, and celebrated their different cultures. For several weeks, Zara explored the kingdom. She learned about distant oceans and met creatures she had never seen before. But eventually, she realized something important. The kingdom was amazing, but the greatest part of the journey wasn't reaching it. It was the friends she had met along the way. Bubbles, Orion, Nova, Ollie, Marina. Without them, she would never have made it. Eventually, Zara began her journey home. Months later, she returned to her reef. The villagers could hardly believe the stories she told. Many had thought the kingdom was only a legend. Now they knew the truth. That evening, as the sunset painted golden patterns through the water, young fish gathered around Zara. "Tell us about the kingdom of the seven seas," Zara smiled. And as she began telling her story, she knew one thing for certain. The ocean was far bigger and more wonderful than she had ever imagined. And somewhere out there, another adventure was already waiting. Moral: the greatest treasures are not the places we reach, but the friendships, kindness, and lessons we gather along the journey.